American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays gone down. Throw it all away.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Joe, and I got TBJ and Tempest with me. TNT,
Hello.
welcome, ladies.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Bringing the ladies in right away. We're going to just get right down to it because I got a lot of different stuff. They got some true crime to tell us about, and they are working on developing their skills and rapport for their own podcast, 6 Degrees. Although there's probably, I don't know, did you look it up if there's 800 other podcasts called 6 Degrees?
I looked
There's
up.
not.
No one right now is going around with 6 degrees of true crime, so it's ours.
Okay, we gotta grab it.
I will fight anyone who tries to
Yes.
say otherwise. There's
So-
no presence anywhere.
So welcome TBJ from the Nerd School podcast, from Open Hatch. Is that right? Is that
Open Cage.
Open
Is everything
Cage.
in Open Cage production?
Isn't there a hatch? Aren't you on something with hatched?
The youth group is called the Hatchlings.
I knew there was a hatch something.
Ah,
And TBJ's with Three Bone Theater. She's with the Girl Scouts of America. She's with Blumenthal Performing Arts.
I'm
what else?
everywhere.
She's an actress. She's a director. She's a what do you call a lady who's a jack of all trades?
yeah.
Jill
I
of
mean,
all
you can
trades.
still just say jack of all trades.
The Jill of all
There
trades.
you
Why can't
go.
we change it? And then
You know
Tempest is her sister. That's all I know about Tempest. Tempest, what do you?
Hi
what do you- I'm
guys.
sure Tempest does stuff too, right? Do you dance, Tempest? Do you sing?
Oh no, TikTok, but no, I'm a Girl Scout troop leader.
Okay.
I'm a
Is a
astounding
yogi?
assistant. Yes, I'm a yogi.
Oh, wait, you're a yogi?
Yes,
Are you? Does that mean you're a yoga instructor?
I am striving to be, but I do host personal sessions with a few ladies, so I'm on
Okay.
the road.
I love yoga. It's the only thing I should do it every day, and I'm lazy and I don't. I got back problems. But when I do yoga, I
It's
feel great.
okay.
Um,
I know, same.
I do yoga with Adrian. Do you know who that is?
No,
Okay, I didn't
is
know.
it a studio?
It's on YouTube.
No, it's a YouTuber.
It's like when you look
Oh,
up
okay.
yoga, it's like the first person that comes up, and
No, she does
I
a lot.
do.
I do a few of hers.
yeah, she's very nice and patient. She's
Mhm.
patient with me when I'm not getting the stress. I'm just kidding. She doesn't-
That's all about.
Okay. Well, Tempest and TBJ are sisters, and they're TNT, and they both love true crime, and they call each other on the phone to talk about true crime stories and episodes of Forensic Files, and they just talk on the phone about it like it's their neighbor. And so they're going to kind of do this conversational type of true crime storytelling, because you don't want to hear a true crime story just by every podcast is the same. It's just a podcaster telling the story like Forensic Files or whatever else. And I don't know. We want to hear
There are some funny ones, but
there's some
we
good.
want to tell it just from our perspective to remind people that stories link back to people. And 3, there's just not a lot of Black voices in true crime spaces. So here we are.
And there's nothing better than to hear two sisters just talk to each other like they would at home, like just
Right?
the way they
Relatable.
should. Yeah, and not like
Yep.
having to talk like somebody tells you to talk or whatever. You talk like you.
Nope.
So just keep it real and whatever. And that's what we're gonna do. And then, but first, I'm gonna make them listen to a bunch of other crap history that happened because we're in October 1953, and we're gonna talk about some other stuff, some stupid stuff, and then you guys don't like sports either, right?
Sports.
Oh, no,
ball,
I
sports
am.
ball.
Oh, Tempest likes sports. There we go.
Yeah, she
I
watches
like
some.
sports.
I'm just,
Because I got one sports thing. We're in October. It's the World Series. So I just got a brief thing about this. October 5th, 1953 was a Monday, and it was the end of the Baseball World Series. All right, Tempest, let's see how much sports you know. Do you know who was in the World Series in 1953?
It's somebody in the Yankees, possibly.
Yeah, you got that right. The Yankees beat the
I was
Brooklyn.
gonna say, what's a World Series? So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Tiffany, I can't own you after that.
Well, no, it's not that I don't know it's related to baseball. I just find it suspicious that it's called the World Series and it's all American teams. So we're kind of sus there.
There's some
So-
Canada,
Okay.
Canadian.
That is not the world.
That's
The
valid.
North Americas is not.
Yeah, that's
a
true. Because
world.
baseball is huge in Japan. So
It
Yes.
is.
So it
And
shouldn't-
Cuba. It's huge a lot of places.
yeah, it shouldn't be called probably that, but they do, I think, now have a lot more international players from other, they get the best players from, I don't know if they get the best players, I don't know, but I know they get some different players from Japan, and they're
Yeah.
awesome. But this was the New York Yankees. They beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 4-3 back when the LA Dodgers were in Brooklyn in Game 6 for a 4-2 series win. This was famous because New York second baseman Billy Martin's 12 hits set a World Series record, and the Yankees won the record 5th consecutive World Series. And that's really all I did about it. I'm used to keeping them short because Amy's like yawning and falling asleep during it, so I usually skip over a lot of that. But I think
I would be Amy. See, this is why Amy and I.
yeah, so you guys really are a lot alike. But yeah, this is, I want to say this was close to when the Dodgers moved. I don't know what year they moved to LA, but I'm not even going to say because I have no idea. But then
I never knew they moved. So there you go.
Yeah,
We're
they're the LA Dodgers now.
they're the LA Dodgers now. Yeah, and my uncle lives out there, and he's a huge Dodgers fan, so he's always talking about the Dodgers. So
I'm a Braves fan.
Yeah, you're a Braves fan. Yeah, because most
Yes.
people in Charlotte are Braves fans because there's no baseball team here. I mean, there's a AAA team now, but
Right.
everybody's Braves fans. It seems like here, which is cool. I grew up a Montreal Expos fan and a Detroit Tigers fan because I'm right outside. I'm from Toledo, where they have the Mud Hens, which are the farm team for the Tigers.
Got it.
Yeah. And but TBJ, you do know who Jackie Robinson is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know my black history facts.
You know him as a black man a civil rights person, before you know him as a baseball player.
I mean, I know he's a baseball player and he made strides in baseball, but the reason I know him is not because of baseball. It's because of learning Black history. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Listen, I know all like the pop star news about sports ball. Like if you want to know about Russell Wilson, I can tell you 10 things about his wife. And when J-Lo dated old dude, I can tell you that, but I can't tell you much about the sport itself.
I was gonna just try to quiz you and say how many baseball players do you know, and that because they're married to celebrities. Like if you had to name, like if somebody had a gun to your head and said, name how many baseball players can you name?
Sadly, probably only a handful. I can name Derek Jeter. I can name Chipper Jones.
Okay.
Yes, favorite.
Now, why do you know Chipper Jones? Is he married to
Because
something?
we're from Georgia.
That's my favorite. That was my favorite
Gotcha,
player.
that's your favorite.
When he was hitting big, it was like the story because he would only play for
Okay.
And as Tempest said, she's a fan. My dad's a fan. So
Yeah. So
I've
you
gone
get
to like a couple of games. Don't ask me what happened during the games, but I was there. I know.
Now, are you eating
Rod.
Are you eating hot dogs and ice cream and stuff at these games?
Yeah, I'm just chilling.
It's experience for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not following along anything. I'm just there.
I do the same thing. I get the game and everything, but it's boring. It's slow. I drink beer and dance with people.
I mean, it was good times. I think I've been to everything but a hockey game. Like I've been to live sporting events. I like going. I like socializing.
You ever start chants? You ever try starting?
No, I'm not chanting anything.
That's what I do. I try to get USA chants wherever I am.
No, I'll be there. I even used to go to Super Bowl parties like yearly.
Yeah.
I never know who's playing. I don't really care, but I can always tell you who's at the halftime and what food is happening. So,
are you excited about next year's halftime? That's
yeah.
a big deal, right? It's a good lineup.
A lot of
It is.
classics. A lot of people of my time. Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember now who it is. Was it Wu-Tang or something? No, not Wu-Tang. They wouldn't be.
Mary J. Blige will be there.
Some big rap group, right? Hip hop group.
Yeah. Who else is there? Jay-Z organized it. Give me some time.
Oh, yeah,
You
we'll
talk
think of
about
it.
the Dodgers, and I'll tell you in like
Okay,
2
well, I'll jump into the next news. It also has to do with baseball, is why I was asking you. October 8th, 1953 was a Thursday, and Jackie Robinson got barred from having white players in his traveling all-star. Apparently, he did like a touring all-star game regularly. Like he would just get all-stars, and they would tour to different cities, not part of the MLB or anything. But it was called the Negro White All-Stars game, and he would go from city to city. And when he got to Birmingham, Alabama, they were barred from playing there unless he dropped the white players from his group.
Of course, because you can't play together. Guys.
Because it was actually illegal. So that's the thing. A lot of this was like, I didn't realize there were actually laws. So according to EJI.org, which is Equality Justice Initiative, which I got lost on this website. I didn't know this existed, but there's a website called the Equality Justice Initiative, and I'll talk about it a little bit at the end. But it's a cool sort of nonprofit that's dedicated to challenging racial and economic injustice and providing legal representation to people who have been illegally convicted, unfairly sentenced or abused in jails and prisons. It was founded in 1989 by Brian Stevenson. So a best-selling author of a book called Just Mercy and a lawyer. So
Just Mercy. Okay, you grew up. Just Mercy, also a movie starring the one and only Michael B. Jordan.
Is Michael B. Jordan that? I love Michael B. Jordan. So it all comes back to Michael B. Jordan. But anyway,
everything comes back.
October 8th in Birmingham, Alabama. So the police commissioner was Eugene Bull Connor, who Amy and I have talked about because in the 60s, he ends up being a big fucking asshole. He's like the guy who was like shooting water hoses at people in Birmingham in the integration in schools.
Yeah.
So this all-star game was organized by Jackie Robinson almost a decade after he integrated Major League Baseball, but it would not be permitted to be played in the city. So apparently Jackie Robinson usually toured with an all-black team, but this time he signed notable white players to kind of like do a unity type of tour. Al Rosen, Ralph Branca, and Gil Hodges joined the interracial all-stars, and 10 days before the game was going to take place, Commissioner Connor notified the public that the event would be banned if white players were going to play because there's a city ordinance that forbids mixed athletic events. Connor was a notorious segregationist. He had ties to the KKK, and this was one of many actions he take during his tenure to resist integration. So that guy's a piece of shit. He does all
that guy's living in the South in 1953. So,
and that's it. And this was like,
that's the norm.
This was back when they didn't like pretend that they weren't racist.
No, there was no pretending. People didn't start pretending until stuff started becoming legal for everybody.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s, people were still like, and we are white and better than everyone.
Yeah.
Take it.
That,
We bombed this place. Whatever. Like there was no hiding it. There were no consequences. There were no anything. Yep. This is what we decided.
White supremacy is what they would use as their argument. Yeah. So after careful consideration and discussion with members of the Birmingham community, Jackie Robinson decided to move forward with the game, but bench the white players rather than cancel the game. And he said the decision was partly made in response to fears that successfully shutting down the game might help Bull Connor win a bid for Birmingham mayor. So the game did happen, but with only black players participating. So when I first read it, I was kind of like, man, he gave up. But then I thought, well, I get his point. If at least he played the game, because if he couldn't play the game would have been shut down anyway. And then that would have looked like a victory for this asshole. So I didn't even know that they did all-star games like that toured and stuff it's a good idea. I think if they did that today, people would come to it because people love all-star games and those celebrity
doesn't basketball do that? See, here goes my sports ball knowledge.
So basketball, all the leagues do all-star games still, but they just do it one time.
No, but I feel like they don't take it on
but
tour.
They move city.
Right.
Yeah. like all that this All-Star games do move every year from city to city, but it sounded like this was like a tour that was going all around different cities. I guess I could be wrong. That's how I took it. Something.
Listen, don't make me lie.
TBJ knows more about sports. No, I could be wrong. I should look
zero.
that up. But from what I understood, it was like an all-star tour. It was like a tour you take baseball players around.
Yeah.
Which I think
believe it
smart.
back then.
Yeah, I think people would come to that. Anyway, so the Equal Justice Initiative is really cool. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. You can donate to them, and they're doing big things. And so then I'm gonna skip all the way to you guys to October 11th, 1953,
which is a big day.
Where big day. There's 2 different murders on that day. But so I guess maybe I'll start with the first thing that I have on October 11th, 1953, that I gave TBJ and Tempest a choice between 2 murders that I found. And I didn't really find much about either one of them, but one of them was that a woman was found that day dismembered in a suitcase near Columbia University, setting off a huge police search. And her killer will be found 2 days later, admit that he killed Florence Pearl Gibbons in a fit of rage after she told him she planned to marry another man. Is that what you understood?
I just want to say it should be no surprise to anyone who follows true crime that number 1, it was a partner. Number 2, like none of that should be a surprise in any true crime. Like 90% of the time, it's one of the partners.
Yeah, it's always the husband.
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And you would think,
girlfriend or side chick.
Yeah, you would think like, man, people committing things must know they're going to get looked at first, right?
Yeah, you gotta know.
No, and yet they're still out here, and we still have people like Scott Peterson. Like, yo, sir, why did you not think you'd be the natural suspect?
My big thing is like, just get a divorce, bro.
Right?
Like, that's the simplest solution, Joe.
I don't like you. Goodbye. I moved somewhere.
Why she gotta be dead just because you don't want to be with her? Let her live.
Well, because rejection is a heck of a thing, and one day I'm going to write a dissertation on male fragility and rejection because there's so many crimes against women based on a male's rejection. Like, you don't even want her, but you don't want her with nobody else. Like, she's not supposed to be with nobody else.
You can't.
So I'm gonna murder you. I'm gonna cheat on you 1,000 times, but you can't go nowhere. I'm gonna murder you.
Right. Or it's an ego thing. They don't want a divorce. I hear that so many times. They didn't want a divorce. So their only solution, for whatever reason, is killing them.
Yeah, man, I don't get it. I just don't. I've never understood it. Like,
and some women. I mean, it's not only men. Women are.
Women snap
all the time, and there are some that will straight up just be like, "I'm done," and Black Widow style. But we see a lot of cases of men and rejection, and unfortunately, it's not even just married. We just had a case not too long ago when a young woman rejected a male and she was found murdered. It is insane the amount of crime that happens because someone's ego was hurt, because I don't know, someone never taught them to say no. Someone never taught them that everything is not theirs. I don't know what was taught, but this rejection thing as a motive for crime should be outdated, unfortunately.
What was the one what was the one you're talking about? A recent one.
Oh gosh, what's her name? Do you remember? She's 19.
Was around this area?
No, it was just all this things with Gabby was going on.
Yeah.
Where was that?
I know, it's a young woman.
But it wasn't her. It wasn't the Gabby.
No, it wasn't Gabby. I mean, that's still ongoing. This was another young woman at the same time. Ooh, it's gonna hurt me that I don't know this, and I should know this because she was a young woman of color. And part of remembering her was because Gabby was getting so much attention.
This isn't the girl in Gastonia that was just found, right? That's another one.
No.
There's so many. South Carolina.
Her name is Maya. It's Maya something. Yeah, Maya Marcano. Yeah, and it's just,
I don't think I ever heard about this
on one. Similar things. Someone was rejected and boom. But that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cases right now. Maybe I had her name,
Right.
last name wrong, but it's Maya. I know the first name is Maya. I'm pretty sure that's her last name. But it is just insane what happens. And it was a rejection that went to that. And we see it too many times. And here it is in 1953.
Yep.
As if, Florence didn't have a choice with who she settled down with. They don't give her partner's name, but it's like, dude.
Do you think in 1953 people said stuff like, hey, it's the 50s? Like, meaning like we do say, like, it's the 2000s, get with it. Like, like,
Oh my
like,
God.
I think we were like, we're in the
Yes, I
50s
believe
now. Like, it's,
I don't know if they were self-aware enough yet in the 50s to be like, get it together, guys. 50s.
being that we all say the 50s, this ain't the 50s, as in we're not archaic. But
Yeah,
were
they
like,
might have been like, this ain't the roaring 20s.
yeah,
Right.
now, mom.
This isn't the roaring 20s. You don't just get to act wild out here. Settle down with me. Who knows?
I'm allowed to smoke cigarettes and wear a dress.
Right?
50s.
I'm gonna shimmy all night in the speakeasy, Mom.
Yes, it was not ladylike, of course.
Yeah, I know. The 50s were known for being very prim and proper, and that's when they talk about the nuclear family, which,
Yeah.
fun fact, it wasn't as great as people want to make it out to be.
Nope. Yeah.
But, a lot of people stay married, yes, but were they happy? No. In a lot of cases, there was still a lot of abuse. There was still a lot of financial abuse, which means they're not necessarily putting their hands on anyone, but they are manipulating and abusing the way the household is run. So women don't have the option to do it.
Did you say financial abuse?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just like not allowing the money's all staying with the man and all that.
It's a way of controlling the finances and keeping her in her place.
Huh. Yeah. I haven't never heard that, but that's makes sense. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joe, it's pretty common. Still pretty common.
No, I mean, I guess I was aware that it happened. I just never heard a name for it. But yeah,
right.
Maybe you're just such a nice guy that it wouldn't occur to you that men would use finances.
Oh yeah, I don't even know. Like my wife does all. She's like, I don't even know how much any of us make or anything. Like she keeps it all and then tells me either to stop spending money or
she gives you the thumbs up or
with a thumbs up. Yeah, we've taken turns.
It's like, you're fine, honey.
But she's had it for a while now. So okay, now you tell me what murder you guys have.
It was October 11th, 1953. A 17-year-old named Kyllikki Saari, who was known as a good girl in church, was found in a desert. So you might have to take this because I'm
bogs. Yeah.
Bog.
And it is a Finnish story, and I would say overseas, a lot of their like not necessarily swamps, but like watery areas similar to that are called the bogs.
Bogs, right? A bog is like a
B-O-G.
Yeah. The bog.
Yeah.
I feel like they call bogs. I can't remember.
You hear it all the time. Like it's just like a wetland. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking.
thinking.
Just listened to a story about some crime in Scotland, and a lot of bodies were found in the bogs. So like
go obviously over there.
Yeah.
Right. So unfortunately, she was found half naked.
Ooh.
Along with her bike, was later found that the valve was removed for a sink. So, to go back, to be honest, you have to take it.
That's fine.
Because I reversed. I started from May 17th to October 11th.
We can step back to May 17th.
I mean, we can rewind. We talked about her being discovered on October 11th. We rewind back to what actually in May is when she originally went missing. So the October 11th was a discovery, and you can take it from what happened when she went missing and what she doing that day.
Well, that October 11th day was also the same day. I didn't tell you this, but I just forgot that Pauline Robinson Bush, George Bush's sister, like George Bush Sr. and Barbara Bush's first kid, Robin, died. They called her Robin.
Oh, no.
She died at the age of 3 from leukemia.
So October 11th is not
all these murders and that happened too. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So you want to rewind back to May?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. May 17th.
May 17th, it was a typical Sunday, and Kyllikki went to church.
Wait, she went to church the same day that on NBC Jack Benny's program, Jack visits the vault. The vault was one of Jack Benny's gags where he kept all his money guarded by numerous traps and an old man who had not been out of the vault in decades, apparently. It's like a dumb old comedy show. That day, when that was on, that same day?
Never heard of that, but sure.
You never heard of Jack Benny?
I know Jack Benny, the comedian.
Okay,
well,
yeah.
Probably doesn't. I know. But I don't know.
He had like a show, like a sitcom, forever. I'm sure it wasn't good. Anyway, sorry. I will not interrupt anymore. But that's
you're welcome to.
That's the day she went to church.
She went to church she typically do because she was known as a church girl.
Okay.
She got out around 1, and later she went home to rest so she can go back to youth prayer. So that's how much she was a church girl.
Wow, she's a little girl, right?
Yeah. Well, she was 17.
Oh, 17.
She was 17 at the time.
17. So she's in 2 days. Yeah.
She's almost an adult. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a little girl. I don't know why. Okay, 17-year-old Finnish girl, churchy. Okay.
Churchy. So she went back traveling to her other village on her dirt road around 6 o'clock.
Okay.
To the schoolhouse for the youth prayer.
Okay.
After the meeting, her and her friend decided to ride back into town, but around this time it was around 10 p.m.
Oh.
And a little tidbit in Finland, mid-May, the sun set around 10:20 p.m. And I can't believe that because I'll be all thrown off. Yes.
Yeah, listen, that's our Alaska life. So,
and when I went there to visit you, I was thrown off.
Yeah. Listen, you don't know what time it is. Is it day? Is it night? I don't know. You're just here. That's horrible. The time in Alaska. You either light all the time or you're dark a lot. Either way, you don't know what time it is, really.
Yeah. So it was fine for them to, ride their bike home. The bike ride was about 40 minutes, but there was a certain part where they had to separate at a fork in the road. And they said she'll have about 3 miles to go down an unlit dirt road. So I can only imagine it started getting dark.
Yeah.
The next day, May 18th, she didn't come home, but the family thought she stayed with her friend because it was closer to her work.
Yeah.
So they didn't think nothing of it, unfortunately.
No cell phones. You can't text.
No,
Definitely.
It's 1953. All she do is go to church all the time anyway. So
and go to work.
Anything
1953 in Finland. Like, I don't even know if they had TV in Finland.
Probably
not.
Belgium didn't get TV till 1953. So I don't know where Belgium is compared to Finland, but
somebody's gonna call you and give you a geography lesson.
Yeah, I know. Tweet, an angry tweet, you idiot. But yeah, so wow, crazy. All right, so that she's gone. Her family thinks she's at her friend's. Her friend got home.
Exactly. And then the next day, when the job notified the family that she didn't come to work Monday and Tuesday, the family knew something was wrong because, as Tiffany said, she just went to church and worked.
Oh no.
She was our grandmother. In other words, she is Timothy and I's grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother is a old church lady?
Oh, she doesn't go to work and go to church.
Literally.
You ask my grandma what's her favorite color, she'd be like, I don't know.
I have a video to prove it. No, yeah. I don't have a favorite color.
Yeah. What's she like? I don't know. But you know where she at? She at church or work. All the time.
She know what to do. She know how to host. She's in her all white.
A regular.
Is that right?
In a way, young Kyllikki was very much a Zadine.
Zadine.
Yeah, that's our grandma's name.
I can only imagine. My grandma didn't show up to work. Zadine.
All right. Well, what does she do for a living?
CNA.
Work at nursing
assistant.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's hard work. That takes it out of you.
It's hard work, and she works third shift most of the time.
Whoa.
All her life, I feel like she has.
Listen, Timothy and I are on a mission to make her sat down. She doesn't know how to do that.
She's still working?
Still.
Yeah. Wow. She retired for like a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to supervise CNAs at an old job, and I had the older ladies were the hardest working ladies. I mean, These
Yeah.
ladies,
Yes.
I knew it. Like, you ladies are great. I never wanted them to take a day off because they worked, extra shifts. Somebody calls off, they're in there.
That's her.
Oh, they were the hardest working lady. And I just thought, man, you're gonna die here. Like, they're gonna die at work because they never rest, they never sleep, they just work their ass off. So,
That is
God
why
bless
we
her.
have been on a mission to get our grandma to settle down.
Get her a nap.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen either. But so when they noticed she didn't go to work for 2 days, they notified the police. But it wasn't until Wednesday when they had like a 30-minute search around the area that her friend parted at the fort. But they didn't find anything, unfortunately. And then on the May 21st, they did a 1,600 people local search. So all the locals in the neighboring towns tried to search for Kyllikki, and unfortunately, still no signs.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So so that was very, very sad. As the family spread, she was a church and family girl. So when it came around the town, a witness to Tyhasta, do you know how to pronounce that one? So I hope I'm saying it right. But he stated he saw her around 10:40. So I don't know if you remember, I stated they left for it was around 10:20 when the sun set. So around 10:40, he said he saw her near the fort. So they said he was the last person to see her alive.
Oh.
Yeah. So
is he a suspect? Is this guy a suspect?
I'm gonna give you all the suspects. You ready?
Yes.
3 suspects, and I'm gonna give you the outcome of the case. So like Tim said, May 17th is when she went missing. They did all these searches, but still nothing was found until October.
Is it not till October? It's May all the way up. Is this a small town? Is this a small town in Finland?
Yes.
Yeah,
it
is. It is a very small town. So, obviously that leads you to a lot of questions, like was she there the whole time, or was she recent, held somewhere else?
Who's she been? Right? And it's not it's not like she's somebody like you'd be like, who's she been messing around with? Like she's bad crowd, because she's always at church.
Church or work.
Yeah.
Church, work, home. Yeah. That's her routine. So there were 3 suspects. The first one is no surprise because she's always at church. It's a priest.
Okay.
So it's Cuoco Canervo. If you're Finnish and you're listening to this, don't come for me. Okay.
I know these Finnish people.
Sorry, guys.
Don't come for us. So he was the prime suspect in this entire case. He was new to the parish. He just moved there like 3 weeks before.
Oh, in a small town, the outsider.
Yeah, small town, new guy.
person.
And he's at the place she's always at, which is the church. So they automatically thought, hey, let's go here. But everybody was like, it has to be him. He accounted for most of his time. There's like a 20-minute window that no one's like accounting for him. Really? But after they pay attention, they rule out that 20 minutes wasn't enough time for him to go like commit a heinous murder.
It wasn't. So they've ruled him out?
Yes-ish.
Yes-ish. I feel like, even now, even today in 2012 right now, 2021. Even now, I feel like somebody of the cloth already is like some people don't even look at somebody of the cloth, even though a lot of people do now. Yeah.
They are, unfortunately, there's a Netflix series that talks about this one woman that was murdered by this priest, and he was just sent to like 3 other places and took like 50 or 60 years to catch him. I'll look up the name of the series.
Really?
Listen, priest.
Is that a fiction?
Yeah, it's true crime.
But is it is it like a documentary, or is it like it's a documentary. Actors playing that? Oh, it's a documentary. Okay.
It's a documentary, but it's insane. It's insane. Like, it's so insane. And then we also know the large number of cases of molestation, all this. So listen, I get it. Priest, first suspect, because clearly they be sus. The second suspect was named Hans Assmann, Assmann. I could say Assmann.
Assmann, Hans Assmann.
Right? It was his wife was like, yo, I think it's my husband.
What?
Yeah.
His wife, Assmann's wife turned him in?
Wow.
Yeah, Assmann's wife was like, yo, I think it's my husband. But later on, like, the husband reportedly said, yeah, I did it. He confessed. But he's saying it was because he was undercover as a KGB spy. And
what? That took a turn.
Right. And it was like, oh, it was an accident, right? We hit the bike, blah, blah, blah. Never confirmed. Nothing was confirmed. So that's just, he said it. There was nothing else in his story that led him believe it was 100% true.
Huh.
But again, the wife was like, listen, car had a dent on it. He was with his chauffeur. I'm suspicious. I always trust.
It is suspicious because somebody said they saw a car track and a bike and broken glass near.
It's the same color car that a suspect said they saw.
Witness said that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Vittori. Oh gosh, let me say this. Le Musvita. Le Musvita. He's one of those, he's like escaped from a mental hospital dude. So he happened to be out for a small period around this time. So they believe it is him.
So a mental patient has escaped. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so they think
mental patient, a priest, and a KGB officer walk into a bar. Unfortunately for the victim, no person has ever been tried or convicted of her murder.
This is unsolved?
Unsolved.
Yep, almost 70 years later.
They can't even tell if it was a true sexual motive or that's just how she was staged. There's really no good answers out there. Nothing has been found. And to this day, her unfortunate death remains unsolved.
I think you ladies need to solve it.
Listen, let me get over to Finland.
You guys got to get over it.
Right. I need to see the witnesses still alive.
Yeah, none of them can be. But now, wait a minute. So I'm not to say that you'll be able to answer this because Amy will get mad when I do this. But if the guy admitted it, why didn't they charge him? We don't know.
It doesn't really give a clear indication because according to the wife, the evidence is there. There are dents in the car. Her husband and his chauffeur were being real shady. One of his socks was missing. And reportedly, there was a men's sock found at her scene. Right. And so he made this confession, but no one ever said anything to him. On his deathbed, he said, it was an accident and it had to be covered up. Otherwise, secret spy trip would have been revealed.
Oh, because he's a KGB. Yeah,
probably would have ruined him. But let's be real. How many KGB people really walk around and say, like, yo, I'm KGB? Like, Tibbs and I have a parent who may or may not have worked for an intelligence organization. Who never told us a word. I jokingly said to this parent, I think you work for the CIA. And one day said, no, actually. And it was a different intelligence organization still high up there. And I was scared to post it because I didn't want them coming after me.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I need to post this to Facebook. I was right. But no one walks around, this is someone we're related to and see all the time. But no one walks around and says, yo, I work for the intelligence agency, right?
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
So I think that was part of the Hans thing. Like, I don't know. Although when your wife is ratting you out, you must be super sus in general that your wife is like, y'all come pick up my husband. Because I think he's murdering. So
my daughter recently taught me what sus means. So I know what sus
get hit.
Those older listeners of ours, sus means suspect, which makes sense.
I would hope people would gather that, but thank you, Joe.
I'm sure they did, but some people. It took me, like when my daughter was saying it, the problem is kids use words like that out of context. Like
that's
it doesn't
true.
make any sense the way she uses it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it would make sense. Sus is suspect, but you're saying your toast is sus? Why is your toast sus? Like,
there's something suspect about it.
Yeah, whatever.
For listeners, I am Joe's age, but I spend a lot of time around younger people, so I try
cool people
to make sure that I know what everyone's talking about. Most of the time, I'm on it. There are a few times where I'm like, what? How did it even come to that to mean that? Like, what is wrong with you guys? But in general, I got it. And I'm not horrible at using it.
I learn a lot from TikTok.
Good, yeah.
That's a good source.
TikTok teaches me a lot. I got to Google sometimes. Like, okay, what are they talking about?
Listen, whatever keeps you young. But yeah, unfortunately for Kyllikki, still unsolved. A family lost a young lady, a hardworking daughter, sister, friend.
Or Kyllikki, and this is sort of a version of Finnish timelines.
Yeah, right.
We need to go to Finland now.
We just noted it's more than Finnish timeline because Florence's death. Florence was also found on October 11th.
Yeah,
that was in New York. So October 11th is a day for.
It's a bad day. I feel bad for anybody's birthdays. October 11th.
Right.
Not a day.
Well, thank you, ladies, for covering a Finnish murder where you had to say all those names. Which I'm looking at them because I had this in my notes before I realized I didn't have anybody to do this story. And these are hard names.
Listen, we read two different places. I read two different places, and the only name that was phonetically kind of spelled out for us was Kyllikki's name. Nobody else is written out phonetically. And I like learning people's names correctly. I don't walk around with the privilege of being like, I have a basic ass name, so everyone else should have a basic ass name. So
I pronounce everybody's name.
No, you don't have a basic ass name. But I work hard to say names correctly. And so it was unfortunate that there were not a lot of resources for me to get them all right on this one.
Yeah, it's hard. And sometimes the internet's even wrong too. Like I would type in a YouTube pronounce whatever, and sometimes they're wrong too. But okay. Well, I will finish out October with a couple other things to cleanse our palate, if you will, after all this murder. At least there wasn't a rape that we know of. Like her body wasn't raped, right? She was maybe hit by a.
Well, they're not 100% sure.
Oh, they never found.
Because she was found half naked.
Oh yeah.
So they feel like they couldn't rule it out.
Oh, so maybe she was. Ugh, gross. Yeah. October 14th, 1953 was a Wednesday.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
American actor from BJ and the Bear and My Two Dads was born. You know who this is?
No.
I don't think Greg Evigan. You guys know who Greg Evigan is?
No, not a clue.
He was born in South Amboy, New Jersey. You never watched My Two Dads, TBJ?
Yeah, I've watched that.
I feel like I know the show, but I don't know anyone's names.
He was the bearded dad from that.
Okay,
Greg Evigan. He's a common kitsch reference for guys my age, are like, oh, you look like Greg Evigan. Because then after that, his career went away. So this is why Amy hates birthdays, because I pick stupid random actors that are done. But
hey, the world needs to know them. Okay, everyone.
They had to be celebrated.
Birthday.
Like he was one of the dads on My Two Dads. He wasn't a good actor at all. But now I know stuff about him. Like he was the son of Ralph Evigan, an electrician, and his wife Barbara, who was a homemaker. And beginning at age 8, Evigan was classically trained on piano and went on to play the organ and the saxophone. As a teenager, he played in several rock bands. He grew up in Sayreville, New Jersey, and he attended Sayreville War Memorial High School. Blue and gray was the team colors, home of the Bombers.
I forgot that you like that part.
I do like that part. He graduated in 1971. Notable alumni of this school include former SMU women's basketball coach Rhonda Rompola, Congressman Jamal Brown, serving as the U.S. representative for New York's 16th congressional district since 2021, and John Bon Jovi went to that same high school.
I'm gonna win some trivia because of you, Joe.
It's all trivia. You're gonna
win. One day we're gonna be at a bar. We're gonna be like, which TV sitcom star was born on this day? You're like, know it.
Greg Evigan. How do you know that? Because this guy forced me to know it on a podcast. It's forcible. I want to do guerrilla trivia where I go out in the streets and force people to know this stuff. But Greg Evigan,
that's your new YouTube series.
TBJ, here's another way you might know him. This is why I just realized this is why I did. But he starred in a Hallmark movie channel's Shadow of the Mesa. Do you know that? Hallmark movies?
I don't know that one
He's a
particularly.
villain. Okay.
It must have not been a Christmas one.
Oh, it wasn't a Christmas.
Right, that's it.
probably. He's a villain in that. Anyway, there was something else I thought I was going to say about him. Anyway, Greg Evigan's birthday. Amy would be so mad. So this next birthday, I have to tell you, is what led me to a murder. I stumbled upon another murder. A birthday led me to a murder. So it's a good thing where I'm doing birthday.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
Because October 15th, 1953 was a Thursday, and American singer from the Jackson 5. Do you want to guess which Jackson? Do you know the Jacksons well, ladies?
Yeah.
It's not Michael.
Is it older or younger than Michael?
Older.
Is it Tito?
It's Tito. It's Tito Jackson's birthday. TBJ knows Tito Jackson's birthday. So, yeah.
I was just thinking about the movie. I was like, movie, who is when, where? That's all.
One of my favorite hip hop lyrics is, I think it's De La Soul, where they're like, I'm the main Jackson. Y'all are just Tito's and Randy's. Like a diss to call somebody Tito. But so I fell down a Tito Jackson rabbit hole. I found a murder and I found a current song. Well, not super current, but 2016, Tito Jackson put on a song with Big Daddy Kane, and it's good.
Oh, wow.
So look that up. I can't remember. It's called Baby something. It's really good. Anyway, I couldn't believe how good it was. I love Big Daddy Kane. But hold on, let me take a sip of this cold beverage from Southern Range Brewery. Tiny ass umbrellas. They should be paying me. Okay, so Tito Jackson, I looked into his history. We all know the Jacksons were born in Gary, Indiana. His name is Toriano Daryl Jackson. He was born at St. Mary's Mercy Hospital. He's the third of the 10 children in a working class family who lived in a 2-room house in Gary, Indiana. His father, Joseph, we all know about him. He was a steel mill worker. His mother, Catherine, is a devout Jehovah's Witness. But at 10 years of age, Tito was caught playing his father's guitar after he broke a string. After fixing the string, Joe demanded that his son play for him. And once he was finished, that's when Joe Jackson bought him his own guitar. And then pretty soon he convinced Tito, Jackie, and Jermaine to form a singing group because he was impressed with Jackie and Jermaine singing. And that's kind of how that whole Jackson thing started, all because Tito was sneaking his dad's guitar. And despite him playing guitar, Motown refused to let Tito perform guitar on any of the Jackson 5 recording sessions, instead forcing all their guitar parts to be formed by session musicians, which is kind of shitty for poor Tito.
That's sad.
I mean, but that's how studios were back then, right? Unless you were a rock band, you weren't really playing your own instruments.
I did not know that.
Or a piano person. Like the piano guys played most of theirs. Or like you were known specifically for
your guitar, yeah.
Yeah. And so they're like, this is like the first instance of boy bandish.
So
boy bands don't really have a choice a lot of times in like how they do things. It's like, this is Machine, this record company, and this is how you will go through this.
Yeah. Well, his guitar work did not make its debut until he and the Jacksons left Motown for CBS Records in 1976. But here comes the murder. Are you guys ready for do you guys know about the Tito Jackson family murder?
Yeah.
I don't.
You do?
The drowning. Are you talking about the drowning?
Yeah, the drowning of his his ex-wife, Dee.
He was also once married to.
Yes. She was married to somebody else?
Wasn't she? Is she the one? There are two of the brothers who shared a wife.
Really?
I can't remember
They
if it's
shared a wife.
Not like at the same time. Like one of the other one's ex-wife.
Oh, I didn't know that. I want to find out about that. Well,
But
I'll tell you what I learned about this one. So Jackson married Dolores Didi Martez in June 1972. She was 18 years old, and the couple divorced in 1988. In 1994, Martez was found dead. Now, this Wikipedia says she was found dead floating in a swimming pool, but I don't think so. I think she was found outside the swimming pool, but she had drowned and had a lot of bruises. But the death was originally ruled accidental because she was in the pool with her new husband. I don't know if he's her new husband. I'll get to it. Or her boyfriend, Donald Bohanna. He was subsequently charged with murdering her later found guilty of second-degree murder in 2000. So she died in 94, but they retried him. And so this Donald Bohanna guy, he sort of claimed like he was like, he's only convicted because the Jackson family wanted to go back, and they were like, they pulled all these high level strings from high level lawyers, and he had this high, and he was a rich guy too, but he had this, he's hired this high flying lawyer, but then he found out later that lawyer was working for the Jacksons on the side, so he thinks he got screwed. So the story goes, and I watched a 2020 episode on this too. You should look this up. You can fall down a rabbit hole on it, but a lot of people thought it was suspect because she didn't swim. That's what Tito was like. We didn't swim. I was married to her for how many years? We don't swim. That's not a thing we do. And so why would she be swimming? And she drowned in the pool. But this guy, Bohanna, was teaching her apparently, according to. So Tito's sons are they're famous. They became a group. Tito's, do you know what that group is?
I forgot, but it's
Tito. I don't know, I can't remember the name, but they were famous for a little while. But those kids, they didn't believe the new guy, but they also did say he was teaching her to swim. But they were drunk. They went out drinking, and they would sit by the pool, and they were in the hot tub drinking. And she got in the pool and started swimming. But they said her blood alcohol was like 10 times the driving limit, so she was really, really drunk. So you can get on Donald Bohanna's website, donaldjbohanna.com. He is already served. He went in jail in 2000. So he served 20 years of a 15 to life sentence. He's also served longer than his minimum eligible parole date. He's more than 80 years old now. He suffered a stroke in prison, which immobilized his right arm, which means he's designated a high-risk medical prisoner. And he's kind of saying, hey, because of my health, I'm low risk to the public. There's all these pleas to get him out or whatever. But when I watched the 2020 thing, I believed he was innocent. I believe, oh my God, the Jacksons screwed this guy over. But once I watched the 2020 thing, I think I might be on the Jackson side, mainly because those kids, Tito's kids, are somebody kind of famous. I can't remember them.
they had a group, and I can't remember what it was. Like 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, they were like.
I should remember because it was during a time period I would know. Side note, because I had to double check, it was Jermaine Jackson that married Randy Jackson's baby mama.
Oh, really? Randy Jackson.
Randy Jackson was dating someone long term. They had 2 kids together, and then
3T. 3T is the name of the band.
Yep, that's it.
TJ Jackson. Okay, one more. I got a couple more minutes. And
go for it.
I got another. Now, this is sort of a black hero. TBJ performs a lot of times on a nerdy night show called Ladies Who Rock, and that is about women who you don't hear about in history because everyone glorifies men only. They don't talk about women. And I want to start one soon just about black history that nobody hears about, these black people that have done amazing things. And this is one of them that I just stumbled upon for this podcast. October 18th, 1953, Willie Thrower. Do you know Willie Thrower? You guys ever heard of him? He became the first black NFL quarterback in the modern era. Was named Willie Thrower. He's a quarterback who throws the ball, and his name is Thrower. That's crazy. And nobody's ever heard of him. So Willie Lee Thrower was an American football quarterback born near Pittsburgh. He was known as Mitts because of his large hands and arm strength, which stood in contrast to his 5'11" frame. He was known to toss a football 70 yards. He was part of the 1952 Michigan State Spartans who won the national championship, and he was integral in the season and played a lot. So I don't know why we don't know this guy. He was undrafted because then, of course, we wouldn't draft a black quarterback. And just for you guys to know the history of it, it took a long time for people to accept black people playing quarterback. Like they would accept black people playing, but they wouldn't let them play quarterback because there was this whole stupid stigma about intelligence and things like that. They're not smart enough and things like that, which is completely untrue. Because the greatest quarterbacks now are like the top 3 are black quarterbacks. And so it's all bullshit. But anyway, so he was undrafted, but he signed with the Bears. And I listened the Bears. I listened to an interview with him, and he said when he played for the Bears, he didn't experience hardly any, like he said, no racism in the locker room because George Halas wouldn't go for it. So I'm glad that there were people like that then that would not allow it. But he did say all the white players, his offensive linemen, were from Southern colleges, and they had never played with a black person at all because it was illegal in the South still to play integrated sports. So just what a crazy thing to listen to somebody talk about that. But he didn't really play a lot for the Bears, but he did get into a game and led them down the field. Their quarterback at the time was George Blanda, who was not having a very good game. And Thrower tells the story that they put him in because he was mad at George. The coach was mad at Blanda because he was doing terrible. Willie Thrower leads them all the way down the field. They do great. They get like 5 yards out of the end zone, and they take Willie Thrower out, and they put in Blanda again, and then he scores, and so we never hear.
Of course,
which is
not
terrible.
surprised. Not surprised.
But he died. Unfortunately, he died of a heart attack in New Kensington on February 20th, 2002, at the age of 71. His funeral was held at the Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church in New Kensington. And then in 2006, a statue of Willie Thrower was erected near Valley High School in New Kensington to honor his accomplishments. And nobody has ever fucking heard of him. That sucks. October 19th, 1953 was a Monday. It was the Larosa Incident, which I've covered on American Timelines a million times. But singer Julius Larosa was fired on the air by Arthur Godfrey, then one of America's top media personalities, an event that drew considerable attention and caused some shock and resulted in significant criticism of Godfrey. Now, this is on YouTube, and you can watch it. Look, it's called the Larosa Incident. It's not really obvious that he's firing him. He just kind of says, "Oh, and that was Julius Larosa's last dance." Okay. And Julius Larosa kind of like, "Oh, this is the last time I'm on." Oh, he looks kind of
wow. What a way to announce it.
Yeah. So that's how we announced it. And then everybody. Yeah, it's crazy. So I've talked. I don't know why I've talked about that so many times. Okay, October 20th, 1953. Got a last birthday.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
Bill Nunn, American actor Bill Nunn. Do you guys know who he is?
Nope.
Yes, you do, because he played Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing. Bill Nunn. Yes.
I just didn't know his name.
Yeah, you said no, nobody knows his name, but he was born on October 20th, 1953. He's an American actor, born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the son of Francis Nunn and William G. Nunn Jr., who was a journalist and editor of the Pittsburgh Courier and also an NFL scout. His paternal grandfather was the first African-American football player at George Westinghouse High School. While ball boys for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bill Nunn and current Steelers president Art Rooney stole Mean Joe Green's car one time during training camp. Didn't tell him about it till a lot later. Nunn was a 1970 graduate of Shenley High School. Their colors are red, black, and white, home of the Spartans. Notable alumni include NFL players Darnell Dinkins and Larry Brown, as well as Andy Warhol and Bruno Sammartino, a wrestler. And that is how we're going to end October of 1953. Thank you, TNT, for another successful episode of American Timelines.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Joe.
Are you guys still having fun talking about true crime?
Always.
I don't think it'll ever get old.
It's our life.
We need to send you two to Finland, and then they'll make a documentary about you guys solving a Finnish murder.
Right. Listen,
Yes.
if anyone wants to send us money and sponsor this trip, we'll go.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I will live on
streets.
What if you guys did it and you went to Finland and you solved it immediately? Okay. Anything else you guys want us to solve? And then you guys just go everywhere solving crimes.
Give us all the cold cases.
We'll get our Sherlock Holmes on. Listen, we always said that we probably should have been detectives, and we would be if you weren't required to do beat cop first. Like if you could go be a detective.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be good at it. We have great observation skills, the two of us.
You're smart women, and I'm glad to have you guys here. So thank you for being here, but it's time to go. This Zoom call ends in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we got to do it fast. Thank you, ladies. You guys are the best.
Thanks,
Thank you
American
so much,
Timelines.
Yeah, keep an eye out for 6 Degrees of True Crime.
6 Degrees of True Crime coming to a podcast station near you.
Okay.
Boom.
Get out of here, Chuck Berry. Let Dale through. Thanks, ladies.
Bye, Joe.
I love you, ladies.
After a cloud wasted, shining my back up
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music.